The Discovery, Chapter 18, Part 5. Princesses, you called?
Yes, we think we might have a way to save David. However, we're going to need to remove him from the medical equipment to cast the spell.
Twilight responded.
Wait, what?
Midnight interjected.
Midnight, we can't use the spell with all these wires connected to him.
Celestia explained.
But those are what's keeping him alive!
Midnight cried out.
We would only remove them a few seconds before the spell. After that, the spell will keep him alive until it's complete. Then we'll reattach whatever we need to.
Twilight said, trying her best to sound calm and rational.
But...
Midnight started.
Midnight.
Luna said, drawing her gaze.
I know you are scared, but there's simply no time to find a better option. Please understand that. But he...
Midnight stuttered. Midnight looked back and forth between the many ponies in the room. One after the other, they all shared the same look. Their minds were already made up. There was no point in arguing anymore. Feeling utterly defeated, Midnight cast her gaze to the floor and waited for the inevitable. So, you want me to bring in a team to remove the medical equipment from him? Dr. Stable asked, making sure to be mindful of the depressed mayor to his right.
Yes, please.
Celestia answered. Dr. Stable wasted no time and rushed out of the room to get a team together. As soon as he was out of the room, Luna noticed Midnight's crestfallen appearance and nudged Storm with her wing.
Could you please make sure she's alright? I don't believe she can handle much more distress today.
Luna said.
Oh, of course, Princess.
Storm responded. Luna watched as Storm quickly made her way over to Midnight and sat down next to her. She draped her wing around the dark unicorn much like earlier in the morning, and simply held her there. After a few moments, the sound of whispers reached Luna's ears. Whispers of comfort and encouragement. They brought a small smile to her face.
Alright, the spell is ready to go.
Twilight announced, drawing every pony's attention. Right on cue, Dr. Stable returned with a small group of nurses and doctors. They quickly assumed their positions at the heart monitor, EKG, and ECMO machine, along with a nurse ready to remove the wires from his hands.
Alright, can one of you remove the sheets and his clothes? We want as little outside influence as possible.
Twilight announced. A nurse quickly removed David's sheets and undressed him. The hospital gown easily tore free and barely disturbed his body.
Thank you. Okay. On my mark, I want you all to remove every piece of medical equipment from David's body. Nothing can be attached.
Twilight explained.
But Princess, he'll die within minutes.
One nurse said. Midnight visibly tensed at her words, before Storm calmed her back down with soothing words of encouragement.
That's not gonna happen. We're gonna cast a spell that will turn him into a pony. He will survive.
Twilight declared, determination finding its way into her tone. Understood, Princess. Dr. Sable answered for the group.
Okay. Every pony ready?
At the collective nods of the group, Twilight continued.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, now!
She called out. Each pony instantly freed David's body of the wires and medical equipment keeping him alive. Within seconds, everything was disconnected and David laid there, completely free of everything. The harsh, continuous beep of the heart monitor flatlining filled the air.
Princesses, now!
Twilight commanded. Without hesitation, Celestia and Luna brought all of their magic forth. They blasted 2 streams of white light straight into David's body. After a moment, he slowly rose until he hovered a few feet off of the bed. Twilight jumped into action next, and shot a smaller stream of white light straight into David's chest. Each princess began to sweat with the strain of their magic at work, but they all held firm. The magic sounded like a jet engine activated in the doorway, and every pony struggled to not cover their ears, lest they begin to bleed. Behind them, Midnight and Storm stared with awe, their vision blurred by the brightness of the white light pouring out of the alicorns and into the room, and it took everything they had just to keep their eyes open. The spell lasted for so long that Celestia and Luna's legs began to shake from the strain of keeping them upright. For a moment, it almost appeared as if they wouldn't be able to maintain the spell any longer, and would falter. But finally, just as they reached their limits, Twilight's voice rang out above the deafening sound of the magic streams.
That's enough, we got it!
She shouted. Celestia and Luna immediately dropped their spells and fell to the floor, panting. Every pony in the room attempted to catch their breath as they stared at the white light engulfing David's body. Without warning, the light surrounding him began to glow brighter and brighter until it was blindingly bright. Every pony in the room was forced to close their eyes from the exposure to the unbelievably bright light.
Is that supposed to happen?
Midnight shouted.
I think...
Twilight shouted back, only to be cut off by a massive flash of light and a sound akin to an explosion. David walked through the mist for what must have been the 100th time since coming to Equestria. Although this time, it was different. He didn't feel an ominous presence following him. He didn't hear any voices. He only saw the mist, a slightly whiter color than it was before.
Hello?
He called out. No answer. He kept walking until he was tired of it.
Alright, seriously, I'm not doing this shit again. I'm sick of it.
David said to no one in particular.
Already? You've only been here for a couple of hours.
A familiar voice spoke up, startling David almost into falling over.
Oh my god, what the hell?
David shouted as he turned around. Standing there, not even 10 feet in front of him, were his lost friends, just the way he remembered them before their deaths.
Guys,
David said in disbelief.
It's been a while, David. Have you been?
Richie asked with a cocky grin.
Is this another dream?
David asked, looking around for any clues to answer his question.
Nope.
Isaac answered.
Am I... dead?
You? Dead? No way, man. You're still too young to die, Mr. Oldest Man in the Galaxy.
Roman answered with a chuckle.
So, then... where am I?
David asked.
Well, we like to call this place the Void. You might know it better as Purgatory.
Richie responded. David was visibly stunned by the news. He took a few steps back before bringing both hands to his head and trying to catch his breath.
So, if I'm not dead, and I'm in Purgatory, then what am I right now?
David managed to say between deep breaths.
Well, at the moment, you're a ball of energy about as bright as the surface of the sun.
Isaac answered.
What? What do you mean?
David asked, his panicky tone clear in his voice.
Well, I think we'll let you figure that one out when you go back.
Richie said with a smug smile on his face.
What do you mean? I'm so confused. I killed you guys. Why am I here? I should be in hell. How are you all not jumping at the bit to kill me right now? I don't even want to know what's going on with this energy ball shit either. What the fuck is going on?
David nearly shouted.
Whoa, calm down, bro. Look, we're not mad at you. You made a mistake.
Roman said, trying to calm David down.
Hey, Rich, come on, man. Enough screwing with the dude.
All right. David, listen to me, okay?
At David's panicky gaze, Richie continued.
All right. What happened on the ship, it wasn't your fault. You missed something, and that forced us to abandon the ship. Then you got to the escape pod first, and the motors on the door failed. We know you did think it was your fault, but the fact is, there just wasn't enough power left. I know you feel like you messed up and didn't save enough juice for the door, but the truth is that it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
David was silent. He took in every word as if each one would be his last, and he still couldn't believe his ears. Every emotion from relief to fear to anger to disbelief flashed through his mind at lightning speed. It was all he could do to even understand the true significance of Richie's words.
But that's not... How?
David finally managed to say after quite some time.
You believe in fate, right, David?
Richie asked.
I mean, I don't know. Well, let me put it to you this way. It was our time, man. One way or another, we were gonna die on that ship. Trust me, what actually happened was for the best.
Richie explained, adorning a more friendly and comforting tone.
But if that's true, then what about...
David started.
You and your girlfriend?
Richie asked with a raised eyebrow.
Yeah.
David stuttered.
How did you...
We hear things. All I can say is that today is not your day to die, David.
Richie answered with a friendly smile. David was silent for a few seconds, before finding the right words again.
Thank you. I miss you guys.
He said, his voice full of sincerity.
Hey, don't worry about it. It's for the best. Now you going back to her, you hear me? Take care of her. She needs you.
Richie said in his most fatherly voice. David took a few steps forward before wrapping his arms around Richie and pulling him into a tight hug. Despite his best efforts, tears began to leak free from David's eyes. Within seconds, David felt another pair of arms, then another. For the first time in 6 months, David was able to hold his friends once more. Then, as soon as it started, it was over. They all pulled away from each other, and before David could say another word, the misty ground below him opened up, and he fell through. Imagine if they said all of that, like, yeah, it's not your time to die, and then he dies anyway. That would be so fucked up. Anyways, let's get on to our kinds donators. Top donators: Jessie Smith, Zarsex30, BadassWaffle, Onlyonething, Ceru, Orion, and Caladis. Matchvic, Jock, Luciisu, Darkside, Rayden, Runescythe, Will, Twinkie, Luigi, Chancercrust, Big Smoke, Murder Princess, Little Mighty, Solar Symphony, and many more amazing people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.